What's up guys, welcome back. It's RJ and today we're taking a look at a brand new silhouette from Adidas. Before we dive in, yes, this is a women's colorway, and the reasoning behind that is because, to the best of my knowledge, at least in the US, they haven't dropped a men's colorway. So I had to pick these up just because I've always been very intrigued by the 4D midsole, but everything they've dropped has been so expensive. These came in a bit cheaper than everything else that's dropped with this midsole, and I actually like, the shape and the design and everything behind it. Figured pick them up, get the sizing right, get everything dialed in, figure out what the shoe's all about, see if I actually like it, just in case they do drop some dope colorways. And even men's or women's, I don't really mind. And I don't necessarily hate this colorway, but definitely not keeping them. And we'll get into why in just a few minutes. For those of you interested, you've got a completely black Adidas 4D box. Obviously reads Adidas 4D across the top. Size tag right there, as you can see, 4D Run 1.0. I like that they're calling it the 1.0 so we can just get it out there. I would assume if the silhouette does well, we'll have 2.0s, 3.0s, just like we did in Ultra Boost. Now it does say 11.5, obviously that's women's sizing, and we'll get into that later in the video. It's a good looking shoe, right? I think it is. I mean, I think it's got a little bit of style from all sorts of different generations. You've got thick padding around the ankles, meshes all around, your typical detached tongue. It's almost like a classic sneaker with a modern twist with the 4D outsole. Both sneakers are exactly the same. We'll put one aside, take a look at the left today, and here you have it. Obviously you've got almost hits of an orangish pink all throughout, almost a salmon color. And as far as the upper goes, we'll break that down first. You've got a full mesh upper, and it's almost a transparent mesh, few different layers. On top is where you're gonna see the darker salmon pattern all throughout. Not really camo, just kind of hits of stripping all throughout. And then you come back to the back panel of the sneaker. You've got the Adidas logo right there, the performance logo. You've got a heel counter that wraps all the way from the lateral all the way into the medial side of the shoe. And actually I was feeling beneath that counter that we actually see, there's something built into the internal portion of the shoe back here, just to add to the structure and stability as well. So kind of worth noting and hitting on. Come back to the toe box, and actually around the whole shoe, we're gonna have weather stripping. Stripping wraps the toe box right there, as you can see. Kind of separates right here and then picks back up right where the upper meets the midsole section. Come up here, very typical, that weather stripping is gonna make up the 3-stripe Adidas logo, both lateral and medial sides as well. Jump up to the lacing system, stripping all around, reinforcing where the laces go through the actual sneaker itself. While we're on the laces, you got one pair, salmon color, matches everything. If you look on the aglets right here, it actually does say Carbon, and Carbon is the company that Adidas partners with to bring us this midsole right here. Jumping up here around the upper section, ankle area, a ridiculous amount of padding. I kind of touched on that already. Very reminiscent of sneakers from just earlier sneakers, before sneakers went completely minimal. A lot of padding around here, but it is still a very sleek and narrow silhouette in the grand scheme of things. So I don't really mind all the padding around here. It does help the foot lock in, doesn't move around a lot. And when we get into sizing, I'll touch on that a bit more. Also super old school is the completely detached tongue. They do attach the tongue to try and avoid as much movement as possible right here through the lacing system. I'm not a huge fan of detached tongues. I've talked about that before. I don't really care what style of sneaker it is. I like the tongue to be attached at some point, just so it's not moving left or right when you're walking around. That little loop right there doesn't really ever help in my case, just because I tend to wear all of my sneakers pretty loose and I'm not lacing everything really tight. So just something to note on. Top of the tongue, you do have the Adidas Performance logo right there. Same salmon color to match the rest of the sneaker. And before we head down, all of the padding around here is wrapped in a pretty slick nylon. Helps the foot just slide in. If you're wearing socks, your foot's gonna slide into this shoe pretty easily. That's typical, but just wanted to touch on that really quick. And all in all, as far as the upper goes, very breathable. You can see by taking a look inside the sneaker that you can pretty much see all the way throughout. It's very breathable. Now heading down to the midsole, I spoke on this already. This is a carbon branded midsole, and Carbon is the company that Adidas has always partnered with since the first time that they revealed this 4D printed midsole. They let us know that Carbon was behind it and that they would be working with them going forward. Now, as far as this midsole goes, it's not necessarily ridiculously comfortable, but it's not uncomfortable. It's more of the technology behind it, the fact that it's actually printed rather than, you know, something that's put together with presses and other materials, like all the foams and everything that we're used to up to this point. You know, there are other brands, I believe Under Armour has done a 4D printed midsole or 3D printed midsole. I'm not sure what they're calling it, but I believe they have. Adidas is really the only one mass producing sneakers in this space, I guess you could say. It does add a lot of weight to the shoe. I will say that this is a very heavy shoe in relevance to, you know, an Ultra Boost, or I'm just looking around, really anything else. You can definitely feel the weight right when you pull them out of the box. So that is one downside, but it's still cool. You know, like I said, it's just kind of the technology behind it and seeing how innovative sneakers are becoming, and the brands that are making them are definitely trying to push the envelope. So shout out to Adidas for that one. Now headed down to the outsole. On this shoe, you have a full rubber outsole, one piece, and it is slightly transparent, so you can almost see through, well, you can definitely see through to the bottom of that midsole, and you can see how it's constructed and woven and what the finished product looks like down there. And as far as the rubber that we have here, it's just your typical Adidas rubber, not co-branded with anybody else. And if the camera's picking it up, you do have one more Adidas Performance logo right there on the very tip of the rubber outsole area. And as far as the breakdown goes, that's pretty much it, guys. You do have a removable insole as well, same gray color as the ankle area right here. Not really worth taking out, nothing special about it, not a whole lot of extra padding. Actually would have been nice if they did add some extra padding, because it could use that as far as the comfortability goes. I'll touch on that more in just a moment. As far as pricing goes, these come in at 250 bucks. Very expensive for a sneaker, but when it comes to 4D and those materials right there in the midsole, this is one of the, I guess, more affordable for lack of better terms or anything. We've had 40 models drop at like 500 bucks, 600 bucks. So for a sneaker to come in at 250, a brand new silhouette, and still feature this midsole, I thought that was pretty cool, and that was one of the big reasons that I picked them up. I'm just hoping they drop some dope colorways, just because I'm not gonna keep these ones. And the reason why is, we'll jump into sizing before we talk about comfort. I went 11.5. That translates to a men's 10.5. That's my true to size. I wore these for quite a bit, and they're just way too big. I can actually, you know, like old school when you go and try sneakers on, your parents would press down on the front. I can press completely down on the front. There's a ton of room. I'd say honestly, a half size. I think a full size would probably be too much as far as sizing down. But I think if I went with a women's 11, which would translate to a men's 10, that would have probably been a way better look. So if any other colorways do drop, I will be going down half a size, and that's what I would recommend. Spoke to a dude on Twitter who did say that he tried his pair on. He's gonna send his back as well, but he said that they fit true to size for him. He also mentioned that because the ankle area and the ankle collar was so thick, that it kind of helped lock his foot in. So I do know that he didn't spend a whole lot of time in the sneaker. I'm not sure if he did, if he would feel the same, but I'm definitely going down half a size. So if you're considering picking these up, or waiting for any forthcoming colorways, go down half a size. I'm just saying that assuming that all colorways that they drop in this silhouette will be the exact same sizing. So something to keep in mind. I don't have a whole lot of experience with other 4D models aside from the Alpha Edge, but I'm going down half a size. As far as comfort goes, it's not an uncomfortable shoe. Like I said, the insole could use a bit more padding. This isn't like a squishy foam midsole where you're getting extra cushioning from it. It's just printed material, you know? And so it does have a little bit of give. It's not Boost, you know? When we're talking about Adidas, it's just not Boost, simply put. So as far as comfort goes, I'd give it somewhere around a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Definitely wearable, and all the ankle cushioning and the breathability really add to the overall comfort of the sneaker. I just want to see that insole have a bit more padding, you know, and maybe drop the overall height of the shoe down a little bit so we can thicken up that midsole and it doesn't feel like your foot's sitting way up too high. Those would be my suggestions. Obviously, this shoe's already done. Can't really change it. I actually love the look of it, you know, but as far as sizing goes, that really killed it for me. So I will be sending these back, unfortunately, But if you guys do have any questions, comments, concerns about this sneaker, I'd be happy to answer them. Leave them down in the comment section. I get back to just about every single one of you who do so. As for the Adidas 4D Run 1.0, that's gonna do it. I will throw these on feet, give you guys a better look at them. And as always, I appreciate every single one of you for watching the videos. Thumbs up if you haven't already, helps the video more than you know. And if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, tap the little bell right next to it, get a notification every time I do anything on this channel. I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, peace out.